Okay, I want to try a little experiment with you. Just for a second. And please don't do this if you're driving. Close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, picture the person you love most in the world. It could be your partner, your child, anyone. And you look at them, you feel that warmth, and you say, I love you.
Right. It's that peak human experience, or so we're told.
Exactly. It's what we build everything around. Well, get ready, because according to the massive stack of documents we're unpacking today, what you just experienced was a hallucination.
A hallucination.
Yes. The text explicitly calls that feeling a colorful bubble and an anesthetic.
Wow. That is one way to kill the mood at a party. Your love is a lie, pass the potatoes.
It gets even more intense.
Yeah.
The source material claims that if you love one specific person, you are functioning at the level of, and this is a direct quote.
It's the lowest level of animals.
Yes. But if you can love, say, a pile of trash and a rose bush with the exact same intensity, then you might be on your way to becoming a Buddha.
It sounds incredibly harsh on the surface, doesn't it? But when you dig into the logic, it's actually this radical attempt to redefine the physics of emotion.
Today, we are taking a serious deep dive into the world of Life Shangyuan. And this isn't just a philosophy. It's a huge, complex system of cosmology, theology, and frankly, what sounds a lot like quantum mechanics.
All founded by a man named Shui Feng. We're looking at the Qianyuan corpus and the Sui Feng corpus, which is, hundreds of articles on everything from 36-dimensional space to how human society should work.
And our mission here is to just decode it.
Yeah.
We're not here to endorse this or take sides. We're just here to look at this incredibly intricate system that blends sci-fi concepts with deep spiritual ideas.
Because whether you agree with it or not, the internal logic is just fascinating.
It really is. So let's start at the foundation. One of the core arguments is about the nature of reality itself. The text suggests we aren't exactly living our lives, we're running a script.
Right. Shui Feng uses this very specific modern analogy. He says, fishes are in the water and humans are in the program.
The program?
Yeah.
I mean, it immediately makes you think of the Matrix.
Yeah, it does. But it's framed differently here. It's less about some evil AI and more about, well, nature.
Okay.
They call it the Tao program. Think of it like the operating system of the universe. The seasons changing, spring, summer, autumn, winter. You can't really negotiate with that. It's a program.
Like human biology.
Yeah.
You go from a fetus to a baby to a teenager to an elder. You don't choose that sequence.
Exactly. It's hard-coded into the hardware.
You know, that's the part that I found a little bit unsettling. The text lists 18 plots that cannot be controlled by people. Your parents, your gender, when you're born. It says these are all pre-assigned.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm just running a script, where's the free will? Are we just biological robots?
That is the million-dollar question. And the texts do address this with a really interesting distinction. They argue that while the script, your fate, is written, the performance is entirely up to you.
So, like an actor, I didn't write the play, I can't change the ending, but I can decide how I deliver my lines.
Precisely. Zhu Feng writes that if you play your role well, even a tragic role, you can alter your path for the next life. But if you fight the script, if you're bitter and resentful, you're just creating glitches in the cosmic operating system.
So the idea is to align your personal software with the universe's software, which I guess connects to this other big idea, the holographic universe.
It does. They use it to explain why your personal performance matters so much. The core idea is that the whole contains all of its parts, but every single part also contains the whole.
The analogy they used was the broken mirror, right? I thought this was a great visual.
It really is. If you smash a mirror into a billion pieces, you don't get a billion tiny fragments of your face. Each little shard still reflects your whole image.
Or like DNA. A single cell from a leaf contains the blueprint for the entire plant.
Exactly that. And the implication is huge. It means self-cultivation isn't just self-help. If you change your internal structure, you are, in a way, debugging the entire universe. You're not separate from the code.
Okay, so we're holographic actors in a cosmic program. But where are we all going? This brings us to the map of this whole system. Because it's not just heaven and hell. This map it's huge.
It's exhaustive. We're talking about 20 parallel worlds, all existing within a 36-dimensional space.
And Earth, where we are now, is the mortal world.
But it's not our home. The text is very clear about that. It uses a very specific analogy.
Yeah, I love this. It calls Earth the Zhengzhou railway station.
It's such a vivid image, isn't it? Imagine a massive chaotic transfer hub. People rushing around, noise, confusion. You get off one train, you grab a bite, you bump into strangers, then you get on another train to your actual destination.
And the argument is that we get confused. We think the railway station is our house. We start trying to build mansions on the platform.
Fighting over a bench in the waiting room while our train is about to leave.
Puts a lot of daily stress in perspective. So let's look at the destinations. If Earth is the hub, where are the trains going?
Well, that depends entirely on your internal frequency. If your frequency is heavy greed, ego, that sort of thing, you're headed to the lower worlds.
The animal world, the inflamed layer, the frozen layer.
Yeah, they all sound pretty self-explanatory and not great.
What about the upgrades?
If you refine your consciousness, you've got options. The first stop is the 1,000-year world.
Okay.
It's described as being 960 light years away, and people there live for, well, 1,000 years. There's no hunger, no cold. It's like Earth, but without all the suffering.
And if you keep optimizing your program,
You can reach the 10,000-year world. This one's 3,480 light years away. And get this, it apparently has 16 suns.
16 suns, how would that even work? That sounds bright.
It seems to imply a world of perpetual light, no darkness, no shadows, and people there live for 35,000 years.
But that's not even the final stop, is it?
No, the ultimate goal is the Elysium world, specifically the Celestial Islands continent.
This is the one they explain using the paper analogy.
Right. If Earth is the front of a piece of paper, Elysium is the back. You can't get there by flying a spaceship. You have to pass through the paper. It's a non-material world, the highest realm of freedom.
So the whole point of the program is to navigate from the railway station to these higher dimensions. But the ticket isn't cheap.
No. And this brings us back to that really controversial statement about love.
This is where the philosophy really challenges our basic, biological programming. We're wired to love our family, our tribe.
It's Survival 101, but Life Genuine literally ranks beings based on the scope of their love.
Let's walk through the hierarchy, because it's pretty startling. If you only love yourself.
You are defined as a devil, a pure taker, an energy black hole.
Okay. If you love just one person, like in a monogamous marriage.
You're at the lowest level of animals.
Ouch. I think a lot of people just felt that one. Why is that considered so low?
Well, the logic is that exclusive love is inherently selfish. By saying, I love you, you are implicitly saying, I do not love everyone else. You're building a tiny wall around two people.
You're creating a barrier between us and them.
Exactly. It excludes the rest of the holographic universe.
Moving up, if you love your family.
Lowest level of humans. Still tribal.
Your nation or your political party.
You're a human. You've expanded your circle, but it's still us versus them.
So to be a Buddha or a celestial.
You have to love all living beings. It goes back to that sun analogy. The sun doesn't choose to shine on the rose and ignore the weed. It shines on everything because it is light. True love has no specific target.
So focusing your love like a laser beam on your kids or your spouse is actually a trap. It keeps you stuck at the railway station.
That's the argument. And if you think that's a tough pill to swallow, just wait until we get to their take on money. There's an article literally titled, The Poor Cannot Enter into Heaven.
Right. And we need to clarify this immediately, because that sounds really bad. It sounds like some kind of prosperity gospel.
It does, but the text completely redefines poor and rich. It flips the dictionary definition on its head. It has nothing to do with your bank account.
Okay, so in this worldview, a poor person is
Someone who takes. Someone who is in debt. And not just financial debt. Emotional debt, spiritual debt. Someone who's always needing things, grabbing resources, feeling like the world owes them something.
they have an energy deficit.
Correct. And a rich person is one who gives. They contribute. They have a surplus of energy and spirit. They owe nothing to anyone.
So you could be a billionaire, but if you got there by exploiting people and you're emotionally needy, in this system, you're poor and can't ascend.
Exactly. You're an energy debtor. You're too heavy to make the transit.
This connects to something they call the zero-sum rule.
Yes, the cosmic law that the sum of positive and negative energy is always zero. And this leads to a really counterintuitive take on luxury. The source argues that being born into massive wealth might actually be a punishment.
A punishment. Most people would sign up for that kind of punishment.
I know, but look at it through the lens of the program. If you have massive wealth, you are consuming more blessings. You're burning through your positive energy balance really fast.
It creates attachments. You have more to lose.
And it distances you from heaven. Whereas material poverty can be an opportunity to pay off karmic debts, clear your cosmic ledger, and become lighter.
It's the camel through the eye of a needle idea, but as a law of physics.
Mm.
So, who is the guy who came up with all of this? Let's talk about the founder, Su Feng.
His biography reads like a classic hero's journey. Born in 1957 in China, he wasn't some monk living in a monastery. He was a businessman.
In Zimbabwe, right. And there was a car accident.
That was the turning point. He crashed his car into a milestone. The description makes it sound like he absolutely should have died, but he miraculously survived.
A near-death experience. It's like a hard reset.
Mm-hmm. He said his secular life ended there, and then in 1999, he's reading the Diamond Sutra.
And the universe just clicked.
It just unraveled for him. He claims he suddenly understood everything. The 36 dimensions, the time script, all of it. But, and this is a really important point, he says he is not a savior.
Right, he rejects that label. He calls himself a guide.
Specifically, a guide to harvest ripe crops. The idea is that he isn't here to convince skeptics. He's looking for people who are already spiritually ready and just showing them the door.
And he didn't just write about it. He tried to build a prototype of these higher worlds on Earth. The new oasis for life, or the second home.
This is where the philosophy hits the pavement, literally. He started these communities based on the principles, and they were, well, radical.
Radical is an understatement. We're talking communal living where you own nothing. But the real kicker was the dissolution of the family unit.
It follows the logic we talked about. If family love is a low-level trait, then the structure itself has to go. Marriages were dissolved, kids were raised by the whole community, not specific parents. The elderly were cared for by everyone.
The goal is to break those specific attachments to practice universal love.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds utopic to some and probably terrifying to others.
It's an extreme application of the theory, for sure. The goal was to create a life-genuine era where nations, religions, and families just disappear, replaced by this unified consciousness.
Before we wrap up, we have to touch on a couple of the advanced concepts here. These were the ideas that really twisted my brain. First, horizontal time.
This is one of the most unique parts of the philosophy. We think of time as vertical, right? Past, present, future. You're born, you age, you die. Gravity pulls you down.
That's vertical time, the march toward decay.
Right. But Xu Feng proposes horizontal time, which is like stepping sideways out of that flow.
The peach analogy.
Yes. You have two peaches. One sits on the table. It follows vertical time. It ripens. It rots. The other peach, you put in the refrigerator. It stays fresh for weeks. The environment changed its relationship with time.
So the refrigerator is horizontal time.
In a sense, the goal is to move your consciousness into a state of eternal moments. If you're always worrying about the future or regretting the past, you're the peach rotting on the table. If you can live purely in the now, you step into horizontal time. You halt spiritual decay.
And one of the ways to access this state, well, it was surprising. It links the highest spiritual state to something very, very physical.
You're talking about the connection between emptiness and sexual climax.
Yeah. Not something you usually find in a theology text.
True, but think about it philosophically. The text argues that to enter Elysium, you have to achieve emptiness. No ego, no self, no time. So Xu Feng asks, when do humans naturally experience that?
For that split second of climax.
Exactly. In that moment, do you have a name, a job, a past, or a future?
No, it's just being.
The self dissolves. The text calls it a pause of life, a moment of eternity. So the argument isn't about the physical act, it's about that state of consciousness. That total selflessness is a glimpse of what Elysium is.
So becoming a Buddha is about finding that state of flow where you just disappear.
Nature is Buddha. That's the core idea, acting according to your true nature without all the artificial layers of shame and social masks.
This has been a lot to take in. We've gone from living in a computer program to traveling to a world with 16 suns, dissolving our families, and freezing time like a peach.
It's a very comprehensive worldview. It really asks you to rethink everything.
So, to summarize our deep dive, the system says Earth is a transfer station in a vast cosmic program. Your goal is to upgrade your internal structure by loving universally and shedding all your debts and attachments.
That's how you catch the train to the Celestial Islands instead of getting recycled back into the lower worlds. And you have to do it by mastering your own performance, even if you can't change the script.
There's this list in the sources, the 24 mandatory indices to heaven. Things like freedom from debt, freedom from ego, and possession of nothing.
And no special relationship with anyone. That's probably the hardest one for most people.
It really is. I mean, whether you buy into the 36 dimensions or not, that core challenge is something to think about. Can you live as a giver instead of a taker?
And if you stripped away all your special relationships and your stuff, what would even be left?
I want to leave you with one final thought from the source material that really stuck with me. It suggests that 99% of people are just biological robots acting out a survival script. Your job, your name, your relationships, that's all just the costume.
So the real question is, if you strip away the costume and you strip away the script, who is the observer watching the play?
Who's behind the mask?
Yeah,
Something to mull over while you're waiting at your own personal railway station.
indeed.
Thanks for listening. Keep diving deep.